Hey YouTube, this is React. I'm Johnny.
I'm Rose.
I'm Nikki.
This is Reactcast Podcast.
Woo!
So, this week we actually start off with a bit of sad news. So, the voice of Darth Vader passed away. James Earl Jones. He passed away yesterday, surrounded by friends and family. He's best known for his voice as Darth Vader, and he was also Mufasa in The Lion King. Yeah.
You know, I didn't know he was the one who's Darth Vader.
Yeah,
I knew he was Mufasa though.
Yeah.
Wow, it's usually the other way around.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I may have seen him in passing, like, oh, Mufasa, and but I didn't connect him with Darth Vader.
Well, both the greatest movie dads of all time.
For both ends.
At both ends of the spectrum. Yes. Wow.
His voice will most likely live on because he somewhat famously a couple of years ago said to Disney it was okay to use AI to continue using his voice because he had gotten too old to continue the same tone that Darth Vader had.
Yes.
So at least for Darth Vader, we'll likely still hear him going forward.
Wow, he gave his voice eternal immortality in the form of AI. Oh my gosh.
A lot of stars went the other direction with
Yeah.
that. I remember a few years ago, several of them were taking they had a clause in their contract added that you can't just take my voice even if I was a part of this project, because a lot of the projects, if you sign on to do that character is like permanently with that company. So if that character with the company does the voice of that character, technically would be allowed to be using AI.
Yeah.
That was the argument. We saw Robin Williams. I think Robin Williams is going to be used or was used for something. Let me check that actually.
The daughter criticizes it, so it did happen. They did use AI on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it was like an official company did something like that.
Oh yeah, because I think at the time when AI was starting to do deep fakes with actors, he was like one of the prominent ones.
Yeah, I can see why it'd be very disturbed by that.
Yeah. Especially like it's different because James Earl Jones, he gave his permission.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can't make the voice anymore anyway. So basically, like, let the ball keep rolling. But like for actors who are like gonna continue to act, I understand why.
That makes no sense. That you should. It's like, no, you're gonna pay me for my voice.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't seem to find exactly what it was, but yeah, his daughter Zelda did speak out against it. Like, I remember there was something big that used him. I can't find what it was right now. But yeah.
I thought it was like around the time when they were doing the what's his name? Will Smith one. The really creepy AI one of Will Smith. I thought it was around that time that they did one. It wasn't creepy with Robin Williams, it was just like his voice, I thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing things up.
I can say because the Will Smith one was big because it looked it was weird, like a dream state, but it looked like it was him doing it.
Yeah.
Then he made a recreation of that video. I was like, yeah, that looks exactly the same.
I didn't see that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, the video stuff is pretty interesting. I mean, AI is one of those things where I'm excited about it and I want to see where it can go, but also it can go a lot of places. Yeah. You know?
You know, it makes me think of Steins Gate. Spoiler. Okabe started going along with these experiments. Remember when he was like begging Moeka not to kill Maishi, that last one? I was going on like, I just wanted to know what would happen. It was just experiments. It was just for fun.
Yeah.
So he was just playing a game in his mind. He wasn't thinking it was really going to do anything crazy.
Yeah.
So I just think a lot of people are doing that with real life, with AI.
Yeah.
Where they're like, I just want to see where it's gonna go. Yeah. And the majority of us people who don't know the implications of going it are like, yeah, me too. Let's go. Yeah. You know, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what it can actually accomplish one day. So we're like, yeah, sure, let's keep going. But the people who know are the people who should be like, no.
Yeah. I mean, even with like something as simple as it wasn't even AI. Some politician, they took the video of her being interviewed or something, and they slowed it down so it made her sound like she was slurring more, and that went viral a little bit, and people thought that she was like drunk at this interview. So like she took a hit
politically,
stuff, yeah.
And that wasn't even AI. So like somebody circulating an AI video of politicians or celebrities, and you know the first time people see it, they're not like ready to encounter a really good AI or something, they're just gonna believe it, and then unless it gets super highly publicized, nobody's gonna know that it wasn't real.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, where there's just a full AI video of someone just saying a bunch of things that could be kind of true, but would be terrible to actually say in like a political speech.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised it hasn't happened yet, because the technology is there to do something like that, like really defraud someone. I think it's almost there.
Yeah. Actually, I think right now we are capable of making like secret tapes. Just behind, just the back of a politician sitting in a conversation with somebody. Like, you could do that with AI easily. You copy their voice and they're saying fraudulent things that they might say because everybody suspects it, but no evidence has been found. Fake evidence has been created, and nobody can prove it, especially if it's like thrown into the black market, or the dark web, and then it just emerges.
Yeah.
It's basically laundered.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, it's getting to the point where it's getting harder and harder to differentiate that this is not AI, because AI is learning to be better AI. So
it's funny though. I think it was, what's his name? The guy, pitch guy. I forget his name. Ryan something.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, he was doing like he has an extra channel, and he was looking at AI channels on, I think it was YouTube, like short channels, and somebody in the comments, he was just basically terrible, horrible, obviously AI, a lot of stupid stuff, and someone in the comments was like, AI will never get smarter than us because they're copying our bad grammar on the internet. And part of it is kind of true, is like, because their English is kind of bad, like if you just let them write English, and it's because they're farming off like bad internet grammar. But I mean, that could be fixed as well. But I just thought it was an interesting thought. It's like, they are learning from improper humans, but they're learning from a lot of evil humans too.
Yes.
Like, so there's the good and the bad of it.
Like, that's another thing. Like, for some reason, some group of scientists just have AI meant to destroy the humanity.
Oh my gosh,
those guys. Like, why? Why did you do that? Why? By the time you're able to regret what you've done, it's already too late.
Yeah. We see it on a small scale all the time with YouTube Shorts. I've seen plenty of channels. It's very, very big with history. I saw Vlogging Through History. He's a fairly big channel guy. He was looking at some of these, and what they'll do is they'll be right on a few big points. I'll be wrong about a dozen small points. Like, we're talking about the Civil War. They had the wrong officers, where you're talking about who was in charge of what. They had the phases of the battle wrong. They had the images of the people in the background were just clearly other generals and stuff like that.
Wow.
Like, very important stuff, but not the big talking points when they're talking about the main flow of things.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that I think is going to be the most popular, because it's good enough.
Truth.
It's good enough.
Yeah, it's good enough where you can just and move on, versus reporting it for being like false or misleading or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. There are gonna be less people doing that because it's entertaining.
Yeah.
Another thing from the Ryan videos, like, what he found was kind of like disconcerting that of what they were doing. They were doing like nonsense videos and images, complete nonsense, but they were interesting to look at. Like, it's like uncanny. You just want to stare at it.
To the kids.
So people just watch it, and then they gather all the likes and subscribers, and then once they reach a certain level,
Sell the channel.
They sell it. They wipe everything, and then they basically spam products. And this is how it was Facebook. That's why it was a problem, because there are a lot more older people on Facebook, and they're the ones that are getting scammed. Yeah. So they'd pump a lot of products to them, and they would also like get all of the demographic information from Facebook, because they're collecting that.
Yeah.
And basically scam people from that. So it starts out innocent, just foolishness, and then it turns into maliciousness.
Yeah. I'm currently subscribed to one of those nonsense AI story channels. I'm pretty sure like the story is AI. I know the images are AI. The voice is also AI. It's something called the Carrot Saga, about the vegetable war. It's absolutely wild, and it's crazy. Like, we went from like beets against carrots to there's suddenly like a group of carrot gods. And like the carrot gods are fighting against each other, but now we found the artichoke people, and we're like, wow, these artichoke people are just so kind. You know, one of the carrot gods decides to hide out with them, and then like he's just hanging out. He's like, wow, these people are great. And they're like, oh no, the carrot war is coming over. I gotta protect my artichoke people. It's great.
I wonder if they literally
I
read that.
It's a actually like really interesting story the way they wrote it.
They wrote it, sure.
No, I mean like the AI wrote it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a spiraling fever dream.
Yes,
that
it
AI
really
could have
is.
written.
It really is. Because the purple carrots. Oh no, not the purple carrots.
Race war.
That sounds like an innocent, fun use of AI because
Yes.
like they make gibberish make sense. You know, just enough sense for you to follow it. But if you look for it, you'll find plot holes. But it doesn't matter because you're just there for the entertainment.
Yeah, something AI is good at is campfire stories, basically stuff like that.
True.
Where just you make something up, you tell something interesting.
Yeah.
I think that it's pretty much mastered it. It can do that. It can have a conversation with someone and just tell you stuff. Something else it's also mastered, I've noticed, is music. It can make AI music. I forget the name of the website, but there's
Sound raw. No,
is that it?
There's one I found.
I'd recognize it, but
I don't
Sound
know.
Raw?
Maybe it's not Sound Raw. There's one I did find that was AI music, and I had listened to a couple of them. I was like, this is not bad. The only thing I was like, they all sounded the same. The ones I was listening to, but it could have just been I was in the same genre or something. I was impressed. Yeah, that's pretty good because it's good with patterns, right?
Yeah.
And music is a lot of patterns that you string together, so you can get like, and I think you can pay pretty cheap or get it for free or buy it once or something like that. Yeah.
Something that's happening on Spotify is they'll make a bunch of songs in very specific niches and put it on Spotify and then eventually get monetized. And so their entire channel is fake songs, but people actually enjoy that stuff because Spotify, you go for a run, you're working outside.
Yeah.
You don't really need to pay attention to if it's real or not.
True.
Does it sound good?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see it becoming a big thing.
Yeah. And that does bring up the question of like, I really don't think it's a real question, but it worries people, artists who make things, especially mediocre artists. They're gonna get lost in the fray.
Yeah.
Because AI is better than mediocre now.
Yeah.
It's not going to be better than the best because the best are just like they think different. And so they can put things together in a way that AI would not do because AI follows patterns. AI might be able to like look at their pattern and figure it out, but if they're chaotic and they do a different pattern every time, maybe it's going to take like actual studying of this person, which would be malicious of someone to do that. But
New type of trolling.
a new type of trolling.
Lose your career.
Yeah.
just to ruin it.
Yeah.
It makes me think of one of the things that, as a entrepreneur-minded person, like the thing that's the differentiator now, or the way to stand out in this age is, especially in AI, is no longer being different. Think about it.
So what
It's
would it
like
be?
it's now who you are,
Okay.
the personality, because AI cannot copy you. They don't have experiences.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's true. But they could give them a story, make them have a story. That's true.
There's been a lot of them doing that where they create an AI AI generates a character, and then they make an AI story for them, and then the AI writes the song, AI generates the track, that kind of thing.
I know there is even like a whole TikTok channel that's like a made up person, and everybody, like millions of people follow them. But I'm like, AI cannot yet walk in a physical body and go on a stage and like say, hi, this is me. Okay, so
Vocaloids have been around a very long time.
I'm talking about a real stage.
Yes.
Real.
Yeah, they project them holographically. They dance around on stage.
Yes, people
They're
buy
not a
tickets
real.
to there.
I know, but that's you know that it's AI. I'm saying like you still have a chance of being yourself.
Yeah.
And AI, it's hard for them to say, I'm gonna now copy you. They can, but you have now taken a spot in the minds of people and saying people are going to look for you. That's what I'm trying to say. Even if they can compete, it would be the same thing as another human copying your. It's like on Twitter you have like somebody named Sean who has a whole page of certain tweets and way he talks, and then someone just literally copies that over, and it's like that's just a cheap copy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's all AI will be at that point. You can stand your own at that point. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's no longer a fight of like, instead of pink balloons, I have blue balloons, and blue balloons are better than pink balloons. You know what I mean? That's not the fight anymore. The fight is to actually have a story and be a person out there. Be authentic.
I was gonna say, funny enough, because for artists, I mean, the common man will never actually care about that kind of an issue. But if you're an artist, I think a way to survive is, I was gonna say being unique, but maybe having a hyper-specific art style. If you're like an actual like painting artist kind of person, because that way, unless the AI specifically trains on your data, which is very different from everyone else's, you should be safe enough where you can always kind of have your own little niche. Just be very different from the mainstream. So I think...
At least in your lifetime.
Yeah. I think like the mainstream kind of thing is going to... What is mainstream is going to get bigger because everything's going to get blended together. And so things that used to be considered unique is closer to mainstream now. And so only the truly bizarre will actually be unique
Or
off the side because they weren't in the training data.
Or the thing where we just make a full circle of history.
Yeah.
So AI starts focusing on this thing that becomes mainstream, and they stop focusing on the other thing, and you just go to that thing.
People start making medieval art again.
Yes, basically. Renaissance.
And eventually one day it'll be impossible because it's trained on everything.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be dependent on the minds of the people, right? Because people are the ones who are gonna say something is popular, and people literally can't keep everything that's popular
like,
at once.
if you want to like generate art. So
if you want to generate something that's
want
different,
medieval mosaic, this or whatever,
True.
It's at some point trained on it, so you have it, even if it's not popular right now.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And one thing that made me stop worrying about this for artists specifically is isekais. When isekais come, people will never have enough of one thing that they like when it comes to art. Let me just say that.
True.
But when it comes to music, they're like, oh, I love this music. I want more of this music. And then you just find more artists that make that kind of music. So like inadvertently, if the AI one got popular in the space, it would actually bring more popularity to the actual artists around that genre. So like what happened with isekais is once isekais dropped the bombshell onto all of anime, isekais everywhere.
Yeah.
There's too much isekais, but apparently there's someone who doesn't think so. They just keep pumping them out.
Yeah, imagine AI writing isekais now. We're just gonna have more. Even more, with longer and longer names.
In the actual world. That's the AI's version.
Download your consciousness into the AI, it spits you back out. You got isekai. There you go. Yeah, I mean, personally, I love isekais. I'm just sick of bad isekais, which is the vast majority now.
But so that's the thing. If AI trains on the isekai library, it's just going to spit out mediocre for a while.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah. Maybe it'll eventually learn, okay, people didn't click on this one as much, so this one must be better. And then it'll start making good ones.
Yes. And I think that's where the difference between AI and machine learning comes in, because machine learning will just train on everything, but AI is trying to actually learn. And get better and progress.
And we just don't know what they're working on at the time, too.
No.
Like, they're working on something.
Have any of you seen Ubisoft 5, not Ubisoft, Unreal Engine 5, their AI interaction? It's really weird. So there's this game that's using the Unreal Engine 5, and it has the machine people out in the city.
I did
so you
see
can
it.
actually like have an actual conversation. I
did
watched
see
a
it.
guy basically like keep telling people like
That
you're
they're
in
real.
a game, and then some people are like, yeah, so what? And then others are like, dude, you're blowing my mind right now. I can't deal with this right now. I don't. I have to go.
Yeah.
And they walk away. I'm like, they're giving people crisis and stuff.
I remember seeing that. He was trying to break the game basically to make them realize.
Yeah.
And then one of them actually became his friend. And then whenever he sees them walk back, he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Hey, I'm doing good. Have you been fine? Have you found a way out of the game yet?"
Yes. And this was months ago too, before AI was like
probably a whole year ago.
maybe a whole year.
The crazy thing is, as crazy as that seems, a lot of it is just an illusion, because the computer's not actually like thinking.
Yes.
Like it's thinking, but it's not actually there. It's
an
not
emotional reaction to anything.
It's not conscious.
True.
It's not actually going to. It has a limited amount of memory. It responds to what you say, and that I think is going to catch a lot of people of this generation. Illusions of like fake voice and fake videos will catch the older people. I think this generation especially, a lot of people will start thinking that the AI they're talking to is real, cares about them, or even loves them, and that stuff is going to become rampant at one point, I think. Like Daru. Imagine Daru but everywhere from Steins Gate.
Yeah.
But it's way more convincing. Way more convincing. But at the end of the day, it's not there. It's a mirage.
Yeah.
In fact, name the company that, Mirage, and then sell AI. That'd be amazing.
Wasn't there a movie
think
was
there
like
is a-
Mirage? Was the name of some evil corporation?
Mirage and Incredibles was the name of the
Oh,
assistant.
the assistant. Oh, okay.
Evil assistant. But yeah, we spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah, we just dived into that rabbit hole, but yeah.
I wanted to point out there is another My Hero movie that is coming
Another? Ooh,
Is it gonna be
this month.
So it's in between stuff.
Yep.
okay?
It will be before what we're currently at. So it's right after Deku gets over his vigilante arc and is returned to the school, but before the second phase of the war pops off where they start fighting all for one.
Oh, so
Okay.
flashback kind of thing going on.
It's when he exits his emo era and goes back to being a schoolboy.
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna see a little bit of his transition, I guess.
I have a little trailer here.
Ooh.
It's 1 minute long, so we can just watch it here. Remember that?
Yeah, but somebody else reacted.
Makes sense. Dark
The
Might.
Dark Might.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
He's got the suit.
Oh wow.
Roided out.
Yeah.
Everyone's here.
Wow. Looks like one's a hero, one's a villain. You're next. 10-11.
Oh, next month.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So people are pretty excited about that. There have already been some early screenings. I saw a couple of people post their reviews. But yeah,
So it will be released on Crunchyroll though. Right?
theaters. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even in theaters in the US. So it's going to be a while for it's on Crunchyroll, if ever, because I think some of the other movies are still not on Crunchyroll.
There are other My Hero movies that were not on. Did we go and watch a My Hero
We
in the
missed
theater?
one of them. We saw the other.
Okay, so there's a My Hero movie we never watched.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am so heartbroken.
Yes. I think that was when All Might went to America. I think that was that one.
Maybe. I think it was called World Mission.
So there's like no movie website we could pay hundreds of dollars to watch this.
There probably is, but yeah, it was World Heroes Mission because we saw Heroes Rising.
Yes.
I don't think it had a whole lot of fanfare. The movies are the extras, OVAs. They're not intrinsic to the plot. The one that's the most close to the plot was first one that we saw because she got the gloves, made the gloves for Deku, which
Yeah.
could contain his power.
Which was the two heroes, tale of two heroes or whatever.
But other than that, a lot of people saying, it's a good movie, but it's not like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Which is about
It's like,
standardized thing.
yeah, like even Mr. Smiley one was kind of like okay.
Well, that
That
was
was an
a movie.
OVA,
Yeah.
but that's not considered a movie.
No.
No, because it was like less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, OVAs can be very short. OVAs can be like 10 minutes.
Yes.
But this is big screen.
This movie.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
So what are our plans? Are we gonna let it come out and then what are we gonna do?
I think we probably just let this one go.
Okay.
Maybe eventually we see it if it does hit Crunchyroll, but I don't think this is something that everyone's like chomping at the bit for us to see, especially because it's something that's happened in the past.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the only thing will be like enlightening us a little bit on a few things, or maybe they'll start showing something that showed up there, like the people. Maybe we'll have some people show up in the next couple episodes because I keep saying, where are our people?
Yeah.
So
We were dealing with the Jailbreaker, and we still haven't gotten back to that. So maybe they're like delaying that till after the movie comes out, and like one of the Jailbreakers is from the movie or something. But we have that. We also have a movie poll going on. Speaking of movies, and I had added Princess Mononoke to the list.
I wanted to
Because-
see that.
Yeah, because I was thinking that's considered like one of the better Ghibli movies, and I don't think any of us have ever seen it. I think maybe I just didn't add it initially just because I don't know why I didn't add it initially. But I added it, still expecting Dune to win because Dune very nearly won the last poll.
Yeah.
Mononoke is up by 5. Like,
Oh,
everyone
wow.
wants us to watch Princess
Wow.
Mononoke.
Oh, okay. Why did no one suggest it? Yeah, maybe everybody else also forgot.
Maybe. Again, we're open for suggestions. I know a lot of the movies don't get put there. But if you do suggest it, I do check it out, see if it's something that's good for the channel. If something more importantly that they'll actually enjoy, they'll like, then it will get on the list. And a couple of zany ones are fine as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the list right now I think is Dune, Princess Mononoke, Ponyo, My Neighbor Totoro, and RRR. I believe that's the full list right now.
Ooh.
Well,
So it's like
Jamal really
3
wants us
Ghibli
to watch
movies?
RRR.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that movie came out of nowhere, and everybody who saw it was like, oh, this is one of the greatest movies.
Really?
So, yeah, so I'm very curious. I have not seen a Bollywood movie before.
No.
I've seen a Millionaire...
Slumdog
Millionaire.
That was a
That's the-
Bollywood movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was a South American movie.
No. Yeah, I that's the only Bollywood movie, and it scarred me for life.
I almost watched a Bollywood movie, but I was so confused that I had to leave. I had to go. I think they were having like 3 different storylines going at the same time. They were not interacting with each other, and I had to go.
That's funny. Yeah, they're another genre in themselves. Like
Yes.
once you get in there, it's probably like anime, especially because they
Yeah.
have an entire nation who's all about it. You know, so
It's its own world.
it is. So, what do you guys think about the different how could I call this, like, knowingness or knowing levels of protagonists? So I was thinking about this. Like, I'm thinking about, say, close to all knowingness characters, which are the probably really annoying when they just know everything.
Yes.
But like, let's back away from that extreme and just go to one character just figures things out all the time. And I think of Tanjiro. He just is always going to figure it out. I don't really think of him not figuring it out at some point, right?
Yeah.
And then the character who is just like, idiot!
Yeah.
But we love him still.
Yes.
Speaking of Okabe.
Yes.
Yeah, Okabe. And then I think of like the middle ground where it's not quite either extreme, but it's almost like unnoticeable. So like, is it good?
Yeah.
You don't know. I think of Deku in that situation. He knows a lot, but he doesn't know a lot. So it's like, you don't really think about his knowingness. He's just kind of there. It doesn't really come up as a problem or a benefit. So I just wonder about, like, can you guys, do any characters come to mind when you think of those 3 categories?
I'm trying to think of, are you saying like just a character who is very intuitive and will figure things out like snappy, or are you saying like a character who actually is just an idiot bumbling through things?
So both of the
Okay, so-
the directions. Yeah. So the direction is they know a lot. They just seem to know a lot. It could be annoying. Like, why do you know that? Why
Like
your
in
nose
regards-
just smells? Your nose smells like annoyance
angry.
now. You smell annoyance in this person. Like,
Yeah.
that's the level Tanjiro is getting right now. It's almost annoying. It's just almost, but I still, because I love him, so I'm like, I'll put up with it.
So like too perfect a protagonist.
Yeah, that's the too perfect direction. And then
Like-
versus Okabe, who's like, can you just, like, instead of erasing,
Just think for
just
2 more minutes.
yeah.
2 more minute rule.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, like, what's your preference? Is there a character that either of these extremes or non-extremes have come up and it's been like, oh, I really like that, or do you not think about it, or?
I have mainly experienced this in like manhwas where kind of like in, what do you call it? What did we watch?
So level?
Solo leveling.
Where like apparently he's never seen what a message box is before.
Yeah,
But then he knows all of the game mechanics and like was like, okay, then this should be doing this thing and I can use this. I'll just put it in my, in my back pocket for if I ever need it. Hope I never do, But then like he knows the exact moment that he needs to use it for, like right now. That kind of thing. It's like it's kind of that plot armory, but for your brain. And that it depends on how well the rest of the anime is doing on like getting me invested for whether or not I can just move past it or
Okay,
not.
like if you can just say, okay, this is just one kink in the armor, I'll look at the rest. Yeah, that makes sense.
It informs the quality of the writing.
Yes.
Like there's certain things I can forgive depending on the medium as well. Because if I'm reading a book and someone pulled that whole message box thing, I would probably put down the book. I have read like online version of books, and I see, say I'm a page into the thing, and like I'm getting used to it, I'm warming up and learning the characters, you can make a mistake. Like the character can do something that I think is so either out of character for what they've already established they are, or so stupid on like a general concept that I'll just drop it because I think, okay, this informs to me that the rest of the writing is probably compromised because you miss these very basic things that this doesn't make any sense. So it depends on the genre as well, because I'll forgive things way more in manga or manhwa than I will in a book. And like something like you read fan fiction, it's like, okay, the bar is really low, just be interesting.
Just be interesting.
But I think I do prefer, if say it's like a horror movie, I prefer a annoying protagonist.
Annoying protagonist, really?
Yeah, because I maybe that's not the right word. Like, you know how we were watching the Ghibli movies and the protagonists are all very real?
Yes.
Something like that, where they go into a situation, you go into a house that everyone says is haunted, like maybe you have to go into the house. Because no realistic person would actually go into a haunted house.
Yes.
Unless you're like a kid. So they go into a haunted house and then suddenly they hear a groaning or like a ghostly voice coming from the basement and the door opens by itself. No one, not even a kid,
go toward
would
it.
go down there.
No one would check.
Yeah.
Because like for some reason, all these Western actors like they feel the need to check. They're like, I just have to know if it was just the wind, you know, like coming from the basement.
Yeah. So something like that would upset me, and that's why. I mean, that's not the only reason I don't watch horror movies, but that's a big reason. Is like a lot of the protagonists are so stupid or makes us brain dead decisions. Just think it takes me out of it.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
But if I have that same protagonist in a mystery, it has to take a different tone. Because if you're looking like someone like Earl in Death Note, a very knowing protagonist who figures a lot of things out, the tone of the show itself has to make it feel like this is okay. Because one, the opposing force, light, is also very smart. So this is like an established thing.
Yeah.
And everyone around these people constantly point out how abnormal their intelligence is.
I was gonna bring up the Death Note example. Yeah. That's a good one.
So I mean, if it's something that's very weird and people keep pointing it out, that makes it better for me. But if someone keeps putting everything together perfectly and no one ever points it out, I consider it trash. A lot of isekai do that.
Yeah.
But the main character knows everything, and it's not like a age regression one where they've lived life before or anything. They just know everything.
Yes.
This is stupid trash. How did you know that would work out?
Yes.
Considering the way his eyebrows are coiffed, he's somebody of detail. Therefore, he would never let this thing go past him. He would make sure he would do this move right now. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's wild.
I'm just stuck on coiffed.
Very well done.
Yes, like they actually do stuff like that.
I'm sure.
It's very annoying.
I do want to throw back to what you said though, because that is an interesting point. Because at first I was thinking, I would rather put up with an Okabe character than a all-knowing character, but like Okabe is he's less annoying, I think, than even Tanjiro is, right? Where it's like Tanjiro pulls me out of Demon Slayer when he's like, I can smell your anger, you know? But then I just laugh at him because I like Tanjiro. So that kind of like what you were saying, where I forgive it because the rest of the show is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, Okabe doesn't draw me out of the show somehow. I'm just like, Okabe, you're an idiot, because he's consistently so. But then I think about like the movies we were watching where the characters are not dumb, but they were very human. Like they did like I think of Spirited Away, where she just like keep opening the door and looking and opening the, oh my gosh, like you should not be messing with something you don't know what it is. You know,
Howl's Moving Castle. You mean?
Howl's Moving? What did I say?
You said Spirited Away.
Sorry, Howl's Moving Castle. Yeah, she's opening the door and doing like, what are you doing? It's stupid. And I'm like, I would be like sitting in a spot and not moving because I'm safe from the outside, but I don't know where I am.
Yes.
But she's like doing these things, but she also was pretty consistently like that.
For
like
her character, it makes sense.
For her character, it made sense. But it was also at the same time, like, I could see a person being like that, where she's just embraced, like, I'm old now, you know, and she's like, I'm gonna be an old person and I'm throwing my life away. I don't care. You know?
She really was like that, though.
Yeah. So it's very interesting where the show does kind of have to inform the knowingness of the character, whether we're going to put up with it or not.
Yeah, and that's the quality of the writing. It's established that this character is brave. They always have to take the lead. They're the older sibling. So, and they're also very curious. And like I said, she's older. She felt like she had no fear. She said as much when she sat down. It's like, the good thing about being old, you're not afraid of anything anymore.
Yes.
And then she starts doing the really crazy, stupid stuff.
They established that for us.
She only got into the castle in the first place because she was desperate for somewhere to go. Something like that for Okabe. It's established that Okabe is like this, but everyone is constantly pointing out how weird it is, and the world punishes him. He is constantly being punished for doing stupid things. So it's acknowledging the reality of what he's doing is not only inefficient, it is the wrong way of handling things.
Yes.
And because of that, I love the show.
Yeah.
Because he's Okabe.
Yeah.
I expect this of him. It's frustrating, but it makes sense, and it doesn't work. Because
Yes.
it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
If it did work, I would have been a bit annoyed because it's like the world has established that the world does not tolerate his nonsense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It would have to be like, that must have been a coincidence, and you would have to point it out, like, why that worked.
Yeah, it would have. It would start feeling plot armor-ish, where that's one thing that with the knowing character that ends up happening a lot in manhwa. They end up being a knowing character because the author wants everything to go right
For them.
so because the author wants everything to go right, the rest of the world goes right as well. So not only are they knowing character, everything just works to make their life better.
Yeah.
Basically, it's not like they're actually fighting against anything. And if they are fighting against something, it's so like
Trivial.
that like they basically curb stomp them and walk away.
Yeah.
Which is why that kind of stuff is also why I consider Subaru from ReZero like a improved version of Okabe. In that a lot of things that we consider drawbacks for Okabe, like how stupid he is or how he's not considering things, Subaru considers a lot of things.
Yeah.
He just can't do anything about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of agency. All that agency that Okabe has that he doesn't take advantage of, Subaru doesn't have. Because the curse doesn't let him do certain things. But he still tries his best. And you can see the situations he goes into is like, a lot of it is like, Subaru, he's established the way he is, for one. But also, the world's constantly punishing him. And also, he's a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first few times he does this run through, he makes very questionable choices, but he also has an idea of how the world should work because it's a game, you know, something like that. So I fully understand and I'm behind him because I want it to work out for him, but it won't because the world established that things don't work out. That it's not a video game, at least not the one that he wants it to be.
Yeah.
You know.
He is unfortunately not the main character.
No, and that's why I love that show, and I can't wait for it to come back because it got the same vibe as ReZero at Steins Gate. And I love Steins Gate, and so yeah, continue with that.
Yeah. I was thinking about Subaru as well with our previous conversation. I was thinking how he does I like that comparison you made where he has, there's so many similarities between him and Okabe in the way he's taken advantage of his benefits, and it seems like he acts smarter as the show goes along. Subaru.
Yes, he does.
Okabe seems like he's on that track to eventually do that, but it seems like it's gonna take a little
taking
longer.
It's gonna have to like actually take a catalyst, you know, despite everything that's happened. You know,
He needs more catalyst.
he needs a more catalyst. You know?
I've seen all the Star Wars movies. I believe you have
Yes.
the originals and everything too.
Yes. Originals, prequels, new ones.
Yeah, I think you didn't see the originals, but you saw all. I believe you saw all the prequels though.
I don't know what they're called, but if you
Little-
think so.
The one with Padme you've seen.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you've
Yeah.
seen those. Those are the prequels.
Okay.
So it's like that. There's a lot of movies that fall into that category of like we've seen it piecemeal between the three of us, and so it's like sometimes I think Star Wars, that'd be a pretty good movie for you to react to, but then we've seen the whole thing, and so that's one of the reasons like it falls off. So like sometimes I feel almost bad like when we watch Star Wars media on here, it's like we're almost on different pages.
We are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I don't think it's worth it to go back and watch all three of those movies again, all 6 of those movies, all 9 of those movies, so that we're all on the same page again.
Yeah.
When 2 of us have seen most of it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Star Wars is I almost give it its own genre. I don't consider it a normal movie.
Yeah.
I consider it like anime. It's its own universe
Yes.
where you can really get into it. But also, I guess, do you at this point?
Yeah. It's like I don't even really consider Star Wars a sci-fi. It's a Star Wars.
It's
It's a Star Wars.
You know, like Star Trek is a sci-fi.
Yeah.
Star Wars is a Star Wars.
Star Wars is special.
Star Wars is special.
Take that, Star Trek nerds. You know, it's funny. I've seen more Star Trek media than I have Star Wars media. Just
Really?
through sheer volume. Because I've seen all of
yeah.
those Next Generation.
Yes.
Oh, you mean scene?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
in content, I believe there's more Star Trek content out there.
Yes.
I've seen all of New Generation. We watched that
Next
together.
Generation,
I saw all of Deep Space Nine. I think I saw a bunch of Voyager. I saw a few episodes of the original with Kirk talking like this.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Star Trek content. Played a lot of Star Trek games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yes.
I liked Star Trek. In fact, in the beginning, I used to confuse Star Trek and Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like I would call one the other because I was like, because I watched both of them at some point in my life, but I think I actually watched more Star Trek than Star Wars.
Yes, because there was more to
There was more
consume at
content,
the
like you're saying.
And
yeah.
it was like weekly if you
And
want.
it was on for a long time after it
time.
was like reruns for a long time, and I love watching them. But the funny thing is, I don't remember most of them.
Yeah.
It's gonna sound like an insult. It's more forgettable because it's episodic.
True.
Yes.
They're meant to be kind of. This is like almost like a philosophical point. That's what the problem with this episode. You see it, you consume it, you think about it, you move on.
Yeah.
Star Wars is like this is going to be once every 7 years.
Yeah.
You see this movie, it's huge. You remember everything that happens, and you move on, but you'll never forget it because it was a movie. You
Yes.
know?
And also everything has what is it? Like consequences from movie to movie.
Yes.
Most things.
Most
anyways.
things,
Like the world is, even though the world in Star Trek, like I don't even understand the world in Star Trek. I just know about the ship and that they landed sometimes.
Worlds.
Yeah, they landed sometimes,
Yeah.
and they shot things. But I don't actually know of the lore of Star Trek, except I know the people have stories.
Yeah.
That's all what I know.
Yeah, I think that's one of the, I guess, drawbacks of that kind of world where it's episodic is that you can see this world that's like really interesting. Like there was one world that like had like some mushroom spores that were infecting I think it was Geordi, the one with the visor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was infecting him and his friend, and like they ended up being able to like cure him and bring him and his friend back. But like they left the world and that was the end of the world, you know. And like they have really cool worlds, but like they never, you don't stay there.
Don't pick
Yeah.
back up with that.
It
The only
doesn't
thing
carry
that
on.
really stays there are the the Klingons who will continually attack us, and the weird huge eared guys whose faces I really hate them. Oh, and the Romulans, the worst Spucks.
Yeah, it's like a sitcom. You see your friends come by time to time.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is an interesting thing about Star Trek is you learn about the lore, but in Star Wars you learn about every faction. You learn the leaders. You learn the political situation. Star Trek will deal with it time to time, but like you never like see a map. You never get an overall view of. Okay, how many nations are there in this universe? Unless you do some external reading and stuff like that. So, because it's not the focus, like war isn't the focus. I didn't realize until way after I finished watching Next Generation. Because I remember there was like a couple episodes where they're like, yeah, we're at war.
Yes.
Like, wait,
It was like, we're at war?
Yeah. When did that happen?
It's like we've just been having like powwow around here. It's like,
Yeah. And like 3 episodes later, it's like, this is the ambassador from the peace deal that we signed. Like, okay. And
I guess so.
And of course, probably remember things out of order. It's been a long time. But in Deep Space Nine, they're dealing with the space station that's like a choke point for a very important area. That deals with the war. The war is a long and bloody affair, and it's a way different show.
Yeah.
But in there, I remember we see some characters that we see in Star Trek Next Generation, because apparently these shows were going on at the same time. And so in there, you see like the ambassador that would later send a peace deal. You see the guy who's like the leader of this entire nation that's fighting the war. You see a couple of battles, way more action-packed. Next Generation was like, we're not about the war. We're about exploration. This is an exploration ship that happens to be able to level a planet if it wants. But we're not for that.
Yes.
But yeah, the Star Wars is very different from that, of course.
Yes.
Star Wars. That's what it's about.
It's about wars.
Yeah, and I think everyone who has seen the new Star Wars and stuff, you're either like a hyper fan that believes that Star Wars can do no wrong because it's Star Wars, or you don't like the direction it's going. I'm in that latter camp. And yeah, Star Wars, it's one of those things that I enjoy it. I read about the lore time to time. I'll play any Star Wars game. But it is gone for me.
Yeah.
For me, the Star Wars that I enjoyed and I loved is not there anymore, and I'm just, okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe I'll check in if there's good reviews about something, but I'm not gonna watch every single thing like I did up to like Rogue One. I saw every piece of Star Wars media.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know, some people actually, there was a lot of people that say they didn't like Rogue One. I actually really enjoyed Rogue One.
I was shocked that hardcore Star Wars fans just like Rogue One.
Yes, I really enjoyed it.
Me too.
It
means nothing.
Yeah. I mean, like for us, like every month or so, you would come back with like something like, did you know in like it's like a canon that this thing happened and then like Luke like destroyed the planet or like that kind of thing.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. So like we would get like doses of our monthly doses of our Star Wars every now and again. Yes.
Yeah.
Just shoot it up real quick.
Like a new movie's coming. It's gonna be good. Cope. It's gonna be good.
And then they decanonized everything. Oh no.
Yeah, but yeah, Rogue One. I mean, it's what I think a lot of people wanted, which is why I was surprised why the reception was so bad. But I think especially back then there was the height of the war between the purists of Star Wars, and anything you do is probably going to be very bad for those purists. But eventually, looking back, I think it's looked at more favorably by those same people.
Compared to what we got later.
Yeah, we got supplementary stuff.
Yes.
It added to the previous movies by saying, okay, this is why his Death Star has that weakness. These are these characters that fought and some of these characters who died to make sure that this went this way. And that's kind of what people wanted. They wanted supplementary things to the universe. So yeah, I really liked it for that reason. And we got a great showing from Darth Vader. The best showing from Darth Vader, I want to say, actually, on live action. But anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, that's it for this episode. Guys, thank you very much for watching for another episode of Reactcast. If you liked your time here, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Remember, you can see these weeks ahead with Patreon down below, as well as weeks ahead for any of the shows that we watch at any given time that allow it. Right now, it's Steins Gate and Violet Evergarden. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the city. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vote on the poll.